What's going on, everyone? So back with another post-match analysis and player ratings for Manchester United versus Leicester. Obviously a 1-0 win, huge clean sheet and a huge result for us against a really good side. I felt Leicester were underwhelming. They didn't really turn up. They had a few little chances but nothing major. De Gea was pretty much untested. He made one good save I can remember for where he had to tip it over the crossbar. But other than that, I felt Leicester were a bit disappointing. Not taking away anything from Man United's performance, but I think if Leicester were a little bit more on it, they would have got a goal at least. But yeah, huge win for United under pressure. Like, great timing in the season that they needed to win this game. Like, no doubts about it. So huge result, and a clean sheet. That's always like a huge bonus. And De Gea's just recently signed a new contract, so we'll see how he does. But let's get into the ratings. So De Gea, I give a 7, because I didn't give him any higher because as I said, he was untested. There weren't a lot he had to do, so it was a pretty quiet game for him. Wan-Bissaka, again, we didn't really hear too much of him, but he just went about his job and did what he usually does. So I gave him a 7. I don't really remember any threats coming down the left, which is obviously his side that he covers. So he got a 7 for me. Lindelof, I thought, was probably the best game I've seen him play so far this year. He still looks dodgy in the air, but luckily there wasn't too much in the air for him to deal with. And I thought he was solid other than that, like interceptions and one-on-ones and things like that. I thought it was his best game so far this season, so I gave him a 7. Harry Maguire, I gave an 8. I think he was the leader today. He was putting himself about, interceptions again, using his muscle, shouting at players. It's what you need, and I feel like he is a future captain for United. I thought he led really well today. Ashley Young on left back, obviously he's got to play because Shaw's out injured and we've got no cover. Deleu's out as well. And Ashley Young, I thought he did a decent job. There was a lot of attack down the right from Leicester, but as I said, nothing really came of it. So even though he was like the weak point of defence, if you like, I felt he coped with it. So I also give him a 7. Scott McTominay, I've been impressed with him already this season anyway. A lot of people haven't, but I have. The effort for me is just, like, he puts players to shame, and more players in this team could take a lot of, need to watch him and take a lot from his game in terms of his attitude and his desire to win the ball and just track back, and like, I think he's the best at it. And for me today, he reminded me, he's like a Roy Keane today for me. Not, I say today, it was yesterday, but he was like Roy Keane, like the way he was getting about the pitch, the desire he was showing. I remember near the end of the game, he ran the ball about 20 yards on the right side up to the corner flag to kill off the game, and he was just phenomenal. I give him an 8 for that. I think he led by example today. Him and Maguire, just brilliant today. Obviously, the only thing I'd like to see from Scott is his creative play going forward, which I think is going to come, because I don't think he shies away from it. I just think he needs to work on his craft a bit going forwards. But exceptional today, I thought. I gave him an 8. Obviously a 9 would have been a goal or an assist, but nothing to be ashamed of today. Matic, I didn't want to see him play. He didn't make too many mistakes, but I do remember him giving the ball away a few times, more so than other players, with simple passes as well. And obviously he's just so slow. It's like a robot. So I gave him a 3 because I don't think he should have been starting, let alone on the bench. And he starts and plays. And as I said, luckily Leicester weren't at their best today, so we got away with it. But I gave him a 3. Mata, obviously he's playing in that number 10 role. There was no creativity from him today. I remember him having one good shot where he cut in, but it was no power, there was no like drive behind it. It was a good little technique to get away the shot, but it just wasn't threatening the keeper. But that was the one positive thing I saw of him. in terms of influencing the game and creating chances for others and bringing people in and service for the strikers, there was nothing from him. And as Mark Goldbridge says, like, he can only play 70 minutes and then you have to sub him off. Like, but I remember that I think that it was about 60 minutes in he was struggling yesterday. So disappointing from Mata. I also gave him a 3. Daniel James, I've been really impressed with him this season, but I think this was one of his more quieter games. I still don't think he was the worst player on the pitch. There was bits where he was showing his electrifying pace, but just couldn't really get it going today. I give him a 6 because I don't think he was dreadful, but weren't the best game I've seen of him so far. So 6 for James. Pereira, I thought it was his best game other than the Chelsea game, the opening game this season. I thought he had a good game. Tracked back well, worked hard, good little passes, had a good free kick. Yeah, just positive, more positive from him today. I remember the game against, I think it was the Palace game, where I was disappointed with him. Because I think he could be a huge talent, but we need more performances like yesterday. And hopefully they'll come from him. So a 7 for Pereira. Rashford, disappointing again. Obviously, he scored the penalty, which that's a plus, but you expect that from your strikers anyway. And he had a free kick which hit the crossbar, or the where it joins from the crossbar to the post. But again, he doesn't do it enough from the free kick. So yes, it was a good technique, but he should be scoring them, or at least doing that more often. If you give him 10 of those free kicks, he's only doing that. Even if it's not on target, he's only hitting the post or the crossbar probably once out of 10 times, and it's not good enough. So again, yes, he scored the penalty, but he didn't have any impact on the game. And you can bring Mata into that for blame as well, but some strikers as well can create their own chances at times when they're close enough to the box and such. And even in them situations, I don't feel he does that. So 6 for Rashford. Fred, I thought he influenced the game when he came on. Like, instantly bring more pace. He was putting pressure, closing people down. I think he set up, it might have been Pereira, I can't remember who it was, but he closed down someone not long after he come on, crossed it, put it across the box, and someone had a shot. And that was because of Fred's closing down and work rate. So he definitely impacted the game, and it just offers us more pace. And there's been a lot of talk whether Ollie don't fancy him, why he hasn't, where he's been for the season so far, and hopefully he'll be in the team now because he had a good impact. And lastly, we got Chong. I was impressed by Chong. I thought he had good enthusiasm when he came on. He was positive, pace again. I just would have liked to seen him been played in a little bit more, but obviously that will come within time, hopefully, when you get the right players involved. But you need like players like Fred over Matic, and someone in, like, I don't know who you're going to bring in for Mata, but I don't feel like Mata's at it anymore. A few years back, yes, it would have worked, but now I think he's past it. So Chong, very impressed with as well. I gave him a 7 too. So yeah, just a huge result for us. I predicted 3-1, I think, for Leicester, and yes, it sounds bad now, but over the season and so far on paper, you would have expected that, if not 3-1, a win for Leicester. So I was delighted with a win. Man of the match is shared this week for me with Maguire and McTominay. A lot of people giving it to McTominay, but I felt Maguire, as I said, he led. He was a bit more vocal, and I feel that they evened each other out. So, but Scott reminded me of Roy Keane. So I hope people start realising what he offers to the team. Yes, he needs to work on what he's doing with the attacking side of the game, but that's going to come. But as I said earlier on, the work rate and the desire he shows, most of the team could learn from that. So a joint man of the match for me for Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. Huge result for us. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game and who your player of the game was, and I'll see you next week.